All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Shai. That belongs to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Peace, safety, and blessings to the Akim, especially the truth out the four winds. As you can see, titled here, I have somewhat of a brief, quick breakdown on some things in the book of Genesis. Okay. Most people get lost in this book because they lack understanding. All right. Got my little PowerPoints, which I normally do. Snakes don't talk. First off, snakes don't talk because people assume that in the Garden of Eden there was a snake talking to Eve, But we're going to deal with that. Okay, snakes don't talk. It was a metaphor. The Garden of Eden was full of people, okay? The snake was a metaphor just like the trees was a metaphor. All right? Let's go into it. Okay, this is Genesis 3 and 1. I'm going to read through 6. It says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which Yahweh the Most High had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden?" All right. Now, subtle, shrewd, crafty, sly, sensible. Crafty, shrewd, sensible, prudent. So this thing we're going to call a serpent, it was real slick. Okay? It was real slick. So we know this wasn't a snake. Now, how would a snake come to you and tell you, God didn't tell you to eat from that tree? Come on now. Let's use common sense here. God wouldn't tell you don't eat from that tree coming from the mouth of a serpent. All right? Slang talk for a deceiver. Okay? The serpent was a deceiver. But let's go a little deeper. Okay, so we got a tricky snake that's telling this woman not to eat of this forbidden tree. Okay. And the woman said, and to the serpent. This is just crazy right here. Like a woman conversating with a snake, talking back to it. We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest you die. Now, just to fast forward, when they ate, did they die? No, they didn't die. Okay? They were still living. So that also shows you it was speaking in a spiritual and metaphorical term. Okay? Because they didn't die. Now, Adam was breathed the breath of life into him, which means he knew right from wrong. Kind of like how we go into captivity right now. We're in captivity right now because the wages of sin is death. That's why it says, lest ye die. Because once he seen everything, or he broke that law, he would be dead. Not talking about physically, okay? Because we're, just like in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, when it was giving out the curses, It says, I think it's 48. It says, he will put a yoke around your neck until he have destroyed ye. We're not destroyed now, we're still here. That was speaking in a metaphoric term, okay? We destroyed mentally. Can these dry bones live? Wasn't talking about actual bones being built up and flesh wrapping around them. It was talking about the children of Israel waking up. So you have to be learned in these scriptures to understand certain things, okay? But this is a deception that Esau has put out there, and everybody seems to think that it was a snake and a woman you know what I'm saying, in conversation. Like, man, how stupid do that sound, bruh? That's why a lot of people run away from the Bible, because they have no understanding of what it's truly talking about. Okay? But it says, ye shall, least ye die. You know, so they didn't die afterwards. So that should have been a red flag right there. Okay? And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. Being sneaky, being crafty, all right? For the Most High doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods. Okay, so he basically subtle, slick, very deceitful. Kind of like today. Who started the vibration that the laws were done away with? It wasn't our people. You know what I'm saying? Esau. He put that vibration out there that the laws was done away with. In the same way he did it in the garden, he used a damn woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look right now, a lot of times Jake don't want to go to church, but who has him and pulls him into that? His woman. If you meet a new woman, say you walk through the mall and you meet a woman, and y'all conversation good, y'all go out to eat or whatever, all that's good. It's gonna come to a time to where she's gonna want to show you off, and where's she gonna do that at church? You meet the people, come go to church with me now. You know what I'm saying? So Satan's using the same tricks he did back then right now. Okay? It says, and the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree to be desired to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Okay, now this is just a quick. See, you got to go precept upon precept, line upon line. Okay, this is 1 Timothy 2. I'm going to start at 13 and read 14. It says, for Adam was first formed. Breathe the breath of life into Adam first. Okay. Then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in transgression. So we know that the transgression is breaking the law. So that shows you right there that it was a law being broken because she was deceived. All right, that basically shows you right there that it wasn't a snake. She was deceived by this man. All right. Let me see. Deceive and that word, I think that's deceive. To cheat, to beguile, to deceive. So he beguiled her. He tricked her. You know what I'm saying? He tricked her first. And then Adam followed. You know what I'm saying? Followed after the woman. And you go throughout the scriptures and read, not to get off track, but every time a man fell, it was a woman somewhere peeking her head around the corner. And she was the reason why. All right? Here we go again. So, right, 25, 24. Of the woman came the beginning of sin. That means she broke a law. And through her, we all die. Now, are we dead? Are we dead? We're not dead. You know what I'm saying? It's spiritually speaking. We have died, but it says it's basically showing you that basically the wages of sin is death. Okay, so we like 2/3 will be put to death because of the act that she made. All right. Little side note, it says keywords in the beginning. The woman Eve broke the law, and by her doing that, we the children of Israel would pay for it throughout all these captivities, and that's how we pay for it. The wages of sin is death, and sin is when you transgress the law. And we know when we transgress the law, the Most High is not too pleased with us. It got so bad, that was the number one of the 10 Commandments. I shall not have no other God before me. Okay? Now let's go into the trees. Okay? Just to show you that the tree of good and evil and all that, man, all that was talking about people. Let's go into it. This is Ezekiel 31. I'm going to start at 3. It says, Behold, the Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon with fair branches. Cedar is a tree. The Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon with fair branches, and with a shadowing shroud, meaning it was huge, of an high stature, and his top was among the thick boughs, meaning his branches or his line of his lineage was a lot. It was a big, massive family, if you will. Okay, this tree or this person, his lineage was big. It was huge. It says high in stature. That means it was on top of everybody else. It was above everyone. The waters made him great. The deep set him on high with her rivers, running around about his plants. That means he was wealthy. And sent out her little rivers unto all the trees of the field. Okay, verse 5. Therefore, his height was exalted above all the trees of the field, and his boughs were multiplied. That means he was very wealthy, and not only was he wealthy, everything he did flourished. Now this is talking about a man, but it's comparing it to a tree, because when you plant a tree, things that comes from a tree are branches, and over time that tree gets very big. It keeps sprouting out. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's comparing this man to. He was a really big family. He was high in stature. That means he was above everyone else. Okay? It says, and his branches became long because of the multitude of waters when he shot forth. What does a tree do? Tree can branch off. Okay? It says, all the fowls of heaven made their nest in his boughs. So everybody under him was like that one. And under his branches, they was like kind of like America is. America is this big tree that everybody looks up to. Okay, everybody looks up to America, or everybody looks up to the white man, Esau. Okay, it says, and under his branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth their young. Hint, hint. The beast would be everybody else, all the other nations. All the other nations would be considered beasts. And it says, kind of like today, what do everybody want to do? Get into America. Send their kids to America. Why? Because they're that top tree. All right? And if they could just they feel if their children or they can just set themselves in a line with this place, that they will be also successful. Okay? It says, and the beasts of the field, and the world is the field, and everybody trying to get where? To America, where Esau is, so they can prosper. And it says, and under his shadow dwelt all great nations. Under his shadow, meaning they were under him. They were under his tree. But they were considered great too, because they were following in his footsteps. Okay? He basically he left a blueprint on how you can be great. But keep in mind, it's talking about a tree, a man compared to a tree. All right? This is just an example. It says, thus was he fair in his greatness in the length of his branches, for his root was by great waters. Riches. He always prospered. He always grew, because water makes trees grow. Okay? The cedars in the garden of the Most High could not hide him. The fir trees were not like his boughs. And the chestnut trees were not like his branches. See, it's comparing other men of lesser stature, Salakia, to this man, this Assyrian man, or this tree. Is comparing the other trees to him. It says the chestnut tree were not like his branches, nor any tree in the garden of the Most High was like unto him in his beauty, because he was just massive. He was like very rich. Okay, and he was beautiful to look upon. Okay, it says, I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches. So it had a lot of people that branched off, or basically his family branched off, and they made him look good. Like he was a king, but everything he did and left in his lineage, it made him look good. Okay? So that all the trees of Eden, okay, that were in the garden of the Most High envied him. Therefore, thus said the Most High Power, because thou hast lifted up thyself in height, and he has shot up his top among the thick boughs, and his heart is lifted up in his height, his mind. I have therefore delivered him into the hand of the mighty one of the heathen, and he shall surely deal with him. I have driven him out for his wickedness. And strangers, the terrible of the nations, have cut him off, and have left him upon the mountains. In all the valleys, his branches are fallen. Now, it's talking about this man that was high in stature. He fell. But it's comparing him to a tree, and all his branches fell. And his boughs are broken by all the rivers of the land, and all the people of the river are gone down from his shadow and have left him. all that, and it was speaking about a man that was great in stature. Okay, comparing men to trees. All right, that's just how um it was with Adam and Eve. You know what I'm saying? Those men that was like people not to follow, if you will. Okay, we wasn't supposed to follow after the heathens or their philosophies. Okay, this is Mark, and this is Yahweh Shai. What he did, it says, and he took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the town. And when he had spit in his eyes and put his hands upon him, he asked him if he saw aught. And he looked up and said, I see men as trees. See, when you get these precepts and understanding the Most High, he basically give you things, okay, to where you can understand a little better. It says, after he put his hands again upon his eyes and made him look up, and he was restored and saw every man clearly. So why did he see these men as trees? Precepts, okay? It's Ezekiel 5:17. And now this is like how it always speaks in metaphors to beasts also. It says, so I will send upon you famine and evil beasts. Okay? And they shall bereave thee. So how have beasts bereaved people? Like, how has beasts, it's not talking about actual beasts. It's talking about men. It's talking about these other nations will basically have you grieving. It says, and they shall bereave thee, and the pestilence and the blood shall pass through thee, and I will bring the sword upon thee, and the Most High have spoken it. Okay, and that's what we're going through right now. All the other nations are devouring us. Okay, now another example, Revelations 13. It says, and he causeth all, both small and rich, poor and free, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive the mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Check this out. And that no man might buy or sell, save he had the mark or the name of the beast. So, or the number of his name. So, what's the mark of the beast? Is it a mark of an animal? Okay, so it's showing you in comparison that it's talking about men. Okay, if somebody have a mark of a beast on his hand or his forehead, so you telling me it's going to be the name of a cheetah? That mark on your forehead? No, it's not talking about an animal. Okay? Back to Genesis, it says, this is also to show that it was more people. Cain and Abel. Okay, this is Genesis 4. It says, and Cain went out from the presence of the Most High and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden, and knew his wife. Whoa, if it was just Cain and Abel, well, I'm going to just finish it. It says, and she conceived and bare Enoch, and he built a city and called it the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. If it was just Cain and Abel and Adam and Eve, where did Cain's wife come from? Okay. Makes no sense. Where did his wife come from? Okay. Hope this was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Peace, safety, and blessing to Yakim. Shalom.